Welcome to Communication Rapport during social distancing and even over technology communication platforms. In this program, you're going to learn 6 specific communication rapport tactics that you can use to create a connection and be able to influence over virtual communication platforms. The success of any communication that we have is the response that we are receiving from the person that we are attempting to communicate with. It's very powerful when you can make that communication, and we all know how bad that is when we don't have it. Having rapport with another person is literally like getting a 4th rub on the genie lamp. Creating strong communication rapport is like magic. Now listen, regardless of what business or profession that you may be in, learning the skills to create communication rapport will enhance your results and your happiness. When you can connect and help another person, the positive effects of that interaction and that contribution return full circle to you. The secret sauce to making this happen in communication is basically making fit for that person's way of being. Now, most people know that to get along with somebody, you try to make fit with their way. But a lot of people don't really connect that to communication and creating an instant rapport or a bond. I liken it to the martial art form of Aikido. In Aikido, if somebody wants to go in this direction and they're coming at me because I'm in the way of that direction, I can simply make fit for them, move out of the way, and help them go in the direction they're wanting to go. So that's what I mean by making fit. Finding out the other person's way and then utilizing that in your communication. In this program, you're going to learn 6 specific things. How to heighten your personal sensory acuity skills, how to implement the power of physiology in communication, even through social distancing and on virtual communication platforms. Strategies for personal state management, how to get yourself into a heightened state of success potential. You'll also learn intensified active listening, how to identify a person's psychological and cognitive communication preference so that you can make fit with them, and very importantly, how to sleuth out a person's internal representation system and use specific language to match their preferred modality. Now, don't be concerned with that terminology, because it's all it is just terminology, and I'm going to explain what those things mean to you. But ultimately, this program is an adaptive overview from a very comprehensive program called Language Leaves Clues. And this is a professional communication course which teaches incredible influence techniques through the power of our communication. So in this module, it lays a foundation of powerful influence and communication skills for you so that you can better achieve positive results during this challenge of social distancing and remote virtual communication. Working remotely and attempting to connect with family and friends through technology platforms is very challenging, and it leaves much up to chance regarding the communication rapport that you are able to develop over those mediums. It almost places us in a realm of, I hate to say it, but those unwanted cold callers or solicitors, especially if your work is almost exclusively on the phone. And that's because phone, teleconference, web solutions, video calling, that leaves us very vulnerable. In communication, we'll be missing over 55% of the actual communication simply because of the gap and not being able to have a face-to-face encounter. In order to compensate for this loss of understanding, it is imperative that we learn to increase and enhance our sensory acuity efficacy in ways that are not typically at the forefront of our minds when we are communicating in a normal face-to-face engagement. If we want to succeed in our communication, We need to change our game. The strategies you're going to learn here are going to help accomplish that for you. We need to practice intensified active listening. When we are not in the presence of a person, we are missing so much information in that communication. We all have a tendency to complete the other person's sentence. If we don't do it out loud, at a minimum, many times we're doing it in our heads. We make instant assumptions, and basically we make the sensory input that we are receiving then fit our model of the world, and that happens because it's all unconscious and it's based on past references and experiences. So when we do this in communication, it is a huge mistake. So now that we've laid out the challenges, let's get on to some of the good stuff. Alright, so phase one in this program is based on physiology, alright? And you may be like, well, how's that going to work at a distance? And we're going to go into that in full detail. Step one is intensified intentional active listening. This sounds quite basic, but it is really a very intricate learned skill. The process of intensified intentional listening requires a trained brain in mindfulness practices to the point where we are aware of our thoughts as we are having them, able to put them aside, and quickly redirect our focus back to the task at hand, which is to be actively listening to the person who is communicating to us. And we want to do that active listening with a very curious way. So we can't have our stuff be getting in the way of that. Mindfulness is a learned skill, and with practice it increases your ability to direct your focus, to have better executive functioning skills, to have an open-minded approach to listening, and one that helps diminish your unconscious default mode network reactiveness. And though we don't have time to get into what all that means here in this abbreviated course, when you're in that place, you are operating from me, I, ego, not from a place of creativity, source, openness. And so that can be a real detriment in our communication. I don't have time to go into all the mindfulness applications in this course, but we do have a complete program available, and I encourage you to take advantage of it. It's free. It's a 30-day mindfulness plasticity programming training module. And plasticity simply means neuroplasticity, how you can literally train your brain for better performance. That's available on the Belief Hack Brainery app, and I encourage you to take advantage of it. It's a free course, and it will take you through multiple different modules of meditation, mindfulness, and different practices that you can use to implement and increase your neurological functioning. As it relates to us in this course right now, what we need to do is simply identify the innate reaction in us all towards distraction when we're listening to somebody, or when we're doing most things for that matter. And we need to know that when we're communicating at a distance, it is even more important to give it our complete undivided attention, which is difficult to do in today's world with social media and all the activity that you always have going on at the workplace. But if we want to have positive communication rapport, it's imperative that we're able to direct our focus to active listening. Step two in the process to create communication rapport is physiological adjustment and attention to physical details. Now you might say, how can I do that over the phone? Or how can I do that at a distance? Well, the first thing that you need to consider is for your best performance, you need to prepare yourself for the call. And that's called personal state management. When a person starts to manage their state, it really puts you in a position of optimum performance opportunity. Now the easiest way to do this is, I call it motion creates emotion. So think about this. Athletes, before they might go out on the field, they typically have a routine or something where they're engaging their physiology. People go to a concert and come out feeling so good and so alive, and that's typically because of the movement that was involved and also the contagiousness of the physiology and the states of other people. So changing your physiological state is a key practice for rapport.